Yeah, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for that kind introduction. I bring you greetings from our organization, Global Emerging Pathogens Treatment Consortium, GETS. GETS is one of the leading biosecurity-based organizations in Africa. And when we talk about biosecurity, we are talking about securing the biosphere, doing everything we can to make sure that the world is conducive for all of us to live in. We all have one world, and if we destroy it, there is no place anybody is running to. So saving the world and making the world conducive for all of us to live in is everybody's business. Like I used to say, the world or the heart is not what we inherit from our ancestors, is what we should keep for generations coming. And if those are ahead of us, if they've destroyed this world, definitely won't meet it as good as it is. So we have a responsibility, all of us, to keep this world as good as possible, as safe as possible for the generations that is coming behind. Can I have my slide, please? So I'm going to be talking briefly on what I described. Stick to your role, nurture the arts. Like she said, my name is Dr Bobadoye. Next slide, please. There's one adage in Yoruba that says, "Orun yabo ko ṣọ̀rọ̀ ẹnìkan." It means literally saving the heart is not one man's business. And there's nobody that has the expertise, the strength, and everything to save the world. But the truth is that our world is going through serious level of destruction by human beings at a level and at a rate that we've never seen in recorded human history. And you see, in physics, there is something they call, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. As human beings are destroying the world, releasing greenhouse gases at levels we've never seen, deforestation, desertification, moving into new territories, the world is responding in cyclones, in droughts, in volcanoes, and human beings have seen that they don't have the ability to cope with the response of the world. The world is responding in COVID, in Ebola, in dengue fever, and different forms of response, and human beings don't have the ability to cope. I say something here, I say nothing in nature lives for itself. Rivers don't drink their own water, trees don't eat their own fruits, and the sun doesn't shine for itself. Living for each other is a rule of nature. For humanity to enjoy this world, we have to make sure that we take care of other living things. Because the way the creator of this world created it is that every single living thing is important, from the most complex human beings to the single cell amoeba. Everybody have a very significant role to play on this planet. Next slide. So that brings us to the issue of biodiversity. How do we live together? How do we live and let others live? Biodiversity is just from two words. Bio, that means biology, that means life. Diversity means variation. So how do we integrate the different lives from complex to simple and make sure that everybody lives and survives and enjoy the planet Earth that God has given to all of us? And will live and allow other creatures to live. That is what we're talking about when we talk about biodiversity. Next slide. And biodiversity is very important. It gives us almost everything we need. It provides oxygen that we breathe in. It absorbs the excess carbon dioxide that humans throw into the atmosphere. It gives us food. It gives us shelter. It gives us medicine. It gives us a wonderful environment. But what is man giving back? Giving back debt, or giving back greenhouse gases, or giving back plastics. We are giving back debts and things at level that we've never seen recorded in human history. We're destroying our forest, and the world is reacting. Next slide. Even in our Greek, biodiversity, elder soil, water retention, pollination, birds and the beautiful butterflies, we're destroying them. And as we're destroying them, we're seeing the effect in agricultural production. agricultural production is dropping at an alarming rate, especially in a country like Nigeria, where we have about 80% of agricultural production depends on nature, depends on rainfall. By the time we destroy this, then we'll reduce the amount of crops we can produce. But our population keeps increasing. Now we are 200 million. By 2050, we'll be 350 million. Who will feed those mouths? These are things we should start thinking. Next slide. Biodiversity and health. Over 50% of commercially available drugs are based on bioactive compounds. By the year 2000 plant-based pharmaceuticals were valued to have made about $30 billion in just 1 year from plant-based bioactive ingredients. Next slide. The forest gives us almost everything we need. Prevents carbon, or we absorb the carbon dioxide through climate change mitigation. Effects on water cycle, provides oxygen, clear oxygen for us. Important source of raw materials, give us food, shelter, and clothing. Next slide. Importance of the forest. Next slide. Well, what is humanity doing? We're destroying this biodiversity. We're destroying our oceans. We're destroying our forest. We are entering into new territories and clearing and destroying almost everything in the new territories we are entering to. We are causing pollution, releasing greenhouse gases at a level that has never been seen recorded in human history, causing climate change. We are polluting our waters, and all this thing is affecting human beings directly or indirectly, especially in the area of health, in the area of environment. Now we're seeing emerging infectious diseases at rates and levels we've never seen before in recorded human history. And science have now shown that almost every 4 years there is a new disease that was seen that we don't know much about. And this is as a result of how man is treating the biosphere. Next slide. Research is showing clearly that 1 out of every 8 birds is going into extinction. 1 out of every 4 mammal, 1 out of every 4 carnivore, 1 out of every 3 amphibian, and 6 out of every 7 marine turtle. Gradually, the world human is destroying every other living thing on the surface of the earth. And you see, it is impossible for humanity to survive without them. There was something COVID taught us clearly when the whole world was under lockdown. The air became clearer. The waters became cleaner. Animals started coming to the streets. The plants were greener. And it shows clearly that the world does not need humans to survive. It is humans that need the world to survive. So we should make sure that we're not destroying what nature has given to us, find a way to preserve it so that we can enjoy it. Next slide. 75% of genetic diversity of agricultural crops, we're losing it. 75% of world's fishery, we're losing it. Up to 70% of world's known species risk going to extinction because of climate change. And this is affecting humanity too. Over 350 million people suffer from severe water scarcity. And not just severe water scarcity. Millions of people are losing their source of livelihood as a result of desertification, especially in Nigeria. Next slide. Yes, what is the impact of this in Nigeria? I usually tell people the biggest challenge Nigeria is facing, or the primary reason for most of the challenges we have in Nigeria, is environmental. And until we are able to address these environmental issues, it's absolutely impossible for us to address insecurity and many other issues affecting us in this country. This is a map of Nigeria showing a kind of identifying the environmental challenges we're seeing or we are having in this country. The northern part of the country, the Sahara Desert is moving southward at about 350 hectares every year. Now we have almost 18 states in Nigeria affected by desertification. The Lake Chad is almost gone. And we are seeing the impact of this is that millions of people are losing their sources of livelihood. And people, as the desert is moving southward, a lot of people are moving southward with it. And the security challenge is that the people that are moving from down north, down south, there are people that are not skilled, that don't have any form of education, and their sources of livelihood in the north is destroyed. What does that mean? In the south here, most of the people that are skilled, they are moving to UK, they are moving to US. So we are losing our skilled labor, and we're having Okada riders and our security guys moving southward on a daily basis. We may not understand what that means, but the security challenge of this will start showing within the next 5, 10, 15 years. Because you will lose most of your skilled labor and you take in junk from the north. And in the coastal area, we are having erosion and flooding, and all these kind of challenges is facing us at a serious and critical rate. And the population of this country is also increasing at an alarming rate. So putting everything together, desertification, environmental loss, flooding, and everything with a population of 350 million people, you see that this piece of land, if you're not careful and we don't start planning, is a piece of disaster that is waiting to happen. Next slide. Migration, losing your best and importing the worst. Next slide. Impact on emerging infectious diseases. Like I said, now we're having almost one emerging infectious disease every 4 years, and it's because of the way we're destroying our forest. The forest is a natural habitat of millions of pathogens that we know nothing about. And as you destroy this forest and humans enter into their territories, what do we have? We have increase in contact between humans and animals. And because these animals are natural carriers of diseases that we know nothing about, we have seen increase in what we call zoonotic diseases jumping from animals to humans. And in the last few years, we've seen COVID, we've seen Ebola, we've seen dengue, we've seen Lassa fever, we've seen them almost on a yearly basis. And this will continue as humans continue to destroy the world. Yes, I want us to use this, the Ebola crisis that happened in 2013 to 2015 in West Africa. Let's use it as an example. And you see how one irresponsible behavior in one small village somewhere in West Africa can become a global issue within a short period of time. Next slide. This was how Ebola started. Some young boys in the forest doing their stuff, killing wild animals and eating. Next slide. They caught some bats, killed and ate. Next slide. One of the boys got sick. Instead of taking him to the hospital, was taken to a muganga, to a traditional healer, and eventually the boy died. Apparently the boy caught Ebola from the bat he killed and ate. The muganga, the traditional healer too died. And they organized a very big burial for the traditional healer, because that was the tradition in their place. And after that, next slide. This was what we had. From that small village in Guinea of less than 1,000 people, this was how Ebola started going around. Taking from Guinea to Sierra Leone to 10 different countries, including Nigeria, affecting 10 different countries, infecting about 25,000 people, killing about 10,000 people, and crippling the economy of the whole region. You see, keeps ticking and keeps spreading. And what is this teaching us? It shows us that the world has become a global village, and any responsibility in anywhere in the world can become a global responsibility in a short period of time. Next slide. Ebola affected 28,000 people, killed, reported cases, 11,000 reported deaths, 14,000 survivors, 10 countries affected, and the economy of the whole region was almost crippled. Next slide. So what is the solution? The last speaker just spoke wonderfully about green economy. I used to tell people the world is going in two directions. The world is either going green or going tech. And if you're thinking to stay a bit longer in this world, you have to find either both or one of the two. Tech is where the world is going. Green is the direction we have to follow, because we've destroyed the world long enough and we have to find another direction before the world wipes all of us away. and the direction is green. What is green economy? Economy that supports biodiversity, that prevents or that does not support climate change, and I still, how will I put it, still encourage financial gain. So green economy is where the world is going, and everybody should move in that direction. Let me give an example. Let's look at electricity. Nigeria has the largest electricity deficiency, or yes, it's deficiency in the whole world. About 93 million people in Nigeria don't have access to electricity. What does that mean? Green, we have sun that is fighting us on a daily basis. That is a gap that people can fill. 93 million people access to electricity is a very green business that people can follow. Another is agriculture. Our country is becoming on a daily basis almost impossible for us to depend on rain-fed agriculture. But as we speak, about 80% of Nigeria still depend on rain-fed agriculture. Within the next few years, the population will increase sporadically, and there is no way we can sustain agri the way we're doing it. Green agri comes to mind. Climate smart agriculture, vertical agriculture, vermiculture, hydroponics. These are things that people should start thinking about, because it's impossible for humans not to feed. So green economy is the direction the world is going, and we should start thinking in this direction. The truth is that the world is moving gradually, not even gradual, at a very high speed, from natural resource-based economy like crude oil and diamonds and things like that, to knowledge-based and service-based economy. And we should start thinking in that direction as young people. Next slide. So why do we have to go green? Because we have a huge unemployment rate in Nigeria, and that is the direction. Nigeria has, I think, an investment capacity of about $12 billion or $120-something billion in green economy investments. And these are things that we can tap into as young people to reduce unemployment rate in the country, mitigate climate change, reduce our carbon footprints, diversify Nigeria economy, and align to the direction the world is going. Next slide. Another aspect of green economy we can consider is ecotourism. This is what we've not been doing in this part of the world. I spent like 7 years in Nairobi in Kenya doing my PhD, and those were one of the best part of my life, because you see nature and life in its natural states. And I think Kenya make about $12 billion every year just from ecotourism. So you go out. When I did my projects with the Maasais, and when I first started going to their villages, I used to wonder, do you guys rear zebra? Because you can just be moving and just see zebras just jumping in one. Oh, do you guys rear antelopes? Big antelopes. You'll be thinking, in Nigeria, this is pepper soup. This is pepper soup. But you see the beauty of nature. You see the beauty of, all those things you see. You see monkeys, you see zebras, you see giraffes, you see antelopes, and not in the parks, just in the wild. And you see a small compound there, and you're just going there to interview the Maasai guy, and as you're coming around, see antelope are just jumping and following you. And it's beauty. It's wonderful. And these are things that we can start maximizing. Instead of destroying what we have, we can nurture, improve on them, and make them a resource of income for us, and make them something we will leave for the next generation. If you're not careful, no, it's not even if you're not careful. In Lagos, we have a lot of children that will never see a pawpaw tree in their life. Not to start talking of things like agbalumo and things like that. Those are extreme. But things like pawpaw, things like mango, things like cashew, these are things we grew up with. But you can hardly see things like that anywhere in Lagos again. Where are the balls we used to play with when we were small? Those balls, those white balls that we used to do around like this and say to put one white something on your finger. Do you guys? I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, what is this guy talking? What is this guy talking? But we saw them, but those balls have gone into extinction. So these are things that we should bring back. Nurture nature. Let's make its environment a very conducive place for all of us to live in. And instead of destroying it, Let's turn it to tourist centers. Let people come from all over the world and see what we have in this part of the world. Next slide. Benefits of ecotourism, wonderful. Many benefits: conservation, economy, cultural preservation, preservation of what we have, our culture, our tradition, and bringing in money, especially for the rural people that lives around that place. Next slide. Many destinations we have in Nigeria: Cross River National Park, Yankari, Obudu Resorts. Next slide. Oh, that's the last. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor.